player, or a first line player actually, with it being a player down. Good defence on the recovery there. Edinburgh can't move the ball quick enough, so they have to set it back up. Move the ball from left to right in these situations. Any young handballer out there, just move the ball from right to left, left to right, and the gaps will appear if you're playing with a player up. You actually have to attack the goal, as Edinburgh is starting to do now. But there's a charging foul as the second line. They tried to set that one up. Diaz ended up pushing into the Newcastle defence, almost slightly overcomplicating it. And they turn the ball over, as I said before. Just move the ball from right to left, left to right. A couple of times, gaps will appear as long as you're trying to attack the space at the same time. Newcastle getting away with this one at the moment. This 2 minutes period. Marlin moves the ball out. Couple of crosses. Szymkowiak takes the foul. The number 14 for Newcastle as well, Kirk Slam, who has been predominantly at the right wing position. Oh, great line movement from the wing. And a good pass as well. That was number 5 back in the mix again. Mathilde Bergstadt. Still a dominating display by Edinburgh, but Newcastle have stepped it up a little bit since the beginning of the second half, scoring 3 goals in the last 8.5 minutes. Edinburgh managing 3 themselves, so actually in this half it is only 3-3, which I suppose if you're a Newcastle fan, which in football I admit to be, in handball obviously very, very, very neutral for all of these teams. But Edinburgh will be hoping that they can start getting a little bit more of a rhythm, and that's going to be a penalty if it's not a goal. Yes, it is, because Szymkowiak was in the penalty area while making the tackle. So penalty, and it's been domination so far for Louise Cox-Thompson from the 7-metre line. She steps up once again and scores once again as well. She hasn't really played that much in open play, but every time there's a penalty, the captain runs on, takes responsibility, and gets the goal. So, I'm going to call it 4-3, second half score. A bad mistake there, unforced error. Good break up the court though. Here's the number 14. And there's the top corner. Sandra Crisp Lamb. First goal of the game for her. And it's now 18-8, 10 goal difference for this one. Edinburgh has advantage. 10 minutes in, 20 to go. Anybody out there has not watched that much handball before, maybe you're tuning in for the first time, wondering what on earth is going on. Well, it's a 60-minute game, 2 halves of 30, 7 players on each team. Contact is allowed, as you've just probably seen then. But it's a bit like rugby league. You may make the tackle, and right here you'll see an example of it. You'll make the tackle, but the attacking team actually keep the ball. Edinburgh do force it though. It's not the best example of what I was hoping to see from that. But it does mean that although making the tackle doesn't get you the ball, it does stop them from scoring, which is the important bit. But it's a bit like water polo without the water, if anybody has watched or is a fan of water polo. I admit that's probably about as niche as handball is. So it's not exactly the best analogy to use, but otherwise I'll be saying it's a bit like, it's a bit like poetry, I was about to say. But no, it's more like, say, it's on a 5-a-side football pitch or futsal pitch with basketball-style rules, shooting into hockey nets, and all those sort of analogies as well. It's a bit difficult to explain in that way. Unlike basketball rules, where you only get 2 steps before travel, though, in handball you get 3. You can bounce the ball, then take 3 more steps. You don't see the bouncing of the ball that often when you're actually in set attack like this. It's quite often trying to move the ball. And that's why, because you move the defenders a little bit quicker, and then you may well end up getting either a shot on goal or a penalty. And a 2-minute suspension given to the number 5 of Edinburgh. That's Dina Gray, who I don't think was here yesterday. Has turned up today. Shimkoviak steps up, takes the responsibility. Taken one, missed, taken two now, missed one, scored one. That's her third of the game. (18-9), and Newcastle only need one more to beat their tally against Olympia from yesterday. And you get the impression that with 18 minutes to go, you'd be hoping that they can do that. Or they'd certainly be hoping that they can do that. Edinburgh won't be that bothered, obviously, if they keep scoring the way that they are. Moving out to the left wing, I think that was Cars. But Andrea King with another save. That is her 8th save of the game from a goal scoring opportunity. Here comes Alina Inter, mother of Alexandra Inter. Alexandra playing at the left back, Alina now at the right back position. Both of Romanian heritage, both have been here for 8 years. Bit of a scrappy turnover there. I'm just having a look at where Alina played before she played at Newcastle. Active 7, which I believe is in Romania. Alexandra says Olympic and Romania. I'm not sure if that was meant to be Olympia or whether there's a team called Olympic, or I can't believe she was in the Romanian Olympic team, but you never know. Being born in 2006, how old would that make her? 17? Is that right? Am I doing my maths right? I'm not entirely sure. Number 9 for Newcastle. I've probably done my maths horrendously wrong there. Do feel free to correct me, whether the YouTube chat is open or not. Search, as I said in the first half, we haven't seen any kind of real impact from that line. They just don't seem to be keen to pass the ball there. It seems Newcastle. Good spin by Alexandra, but couldn't get the ball back afterwards. And I'm not sure whether it's Edinburgh who have actually closed off the gaps for the line player, or whether Newcastle just haven't seen the passes. Keep an eye out on that for a little bit longer, because you've been very quiet from the pivot player. Unlike the pivot player for Edinburgh, who, although misses the shot, Stephanie Fesler does get a little bit of room, does get the ball played into her. I think in the first half when I made that point as well, Fesler went up and got the ball straight away and missed the goal all at the same time. You know, I was talking about the Newcastle pivot player. I mentioned it was 7 players on court, 1 goalkeeper, 6 out-court players. You quite often have 2 wingers, 1 centre, 1 pivot player. The pivot player's job is to get into the defence of the opposition. You see the number 9 for Newcastle there. She'll be pretty much standing on the goalkeeper's area, right in the thick of the defence, trying to make blocks, trying to see if she can get a shot away as well if they get the ball to her, which they haven't managed to do. And you have the left back and right back, or left half and right half. That's where the shot has just come from. The number 10, the 2 Inters that I was mentioning before. Aptly named left half and right half because, let's say, the left half is halfway between the winger and the left winger and the centre player. So they're not like left backs and right backs in football. If anybody out there is a casual handball fan, maybe tuning in for the first time, maybe used to the football analogies. Yeah, they're not like left back or right back in football. Everybody defends and everybody attacks in handball, which I suppose arguably is how they play the fullbacks in football as well these days, but it's still, you get my point. Good defence there from Newcastle, suffocating the Edinburgh play. They do keep the ball though, passing players up. And again, good defence from Newcastle, starting a little bit more aggressive. Starting to get into the faces of the Edinburgh attack. And Edinburgh, it's not like they haven't been able to move the ball quickly, but they do go for the set-piece shot and rushing out there for the defence, and it's span in. Can you believe it after what was looking like a really good save by King? Very disappointed with that one. And I think a timeout has been called as well. Not actually sure who took the shot in the end. Here it is. 25, I think it was. She couldn't believe it that one's got in. There's a 25 from Edinburgh, Alicia Anna Vipasek with her second of the game. I think the first one was a fast break earlier on in the game. Matt Uaun will be fairly pleased with that one. This game, I'm sure. Doing exactly what they needed to do. I was trying to see how many points ahead that Newcastle, that Edinburgh finished ahead of Newcastle. But my notes are on my iPad. I'm rather amateurishly. I've realised I don't have any signal in this place, in this little cupboard that we're in. So maybe I'll try and connect to the Wi-Fi after this game on my iPad, and we'll see if I can get the online notes that I've made. I think next time, even though it'll be about 1,000 pieces of paper, next time maybe I'll try and just print everything off. Flood the table with my notes. So Newcastle gets back underway. It was a timeout called by Newcastle halfway through the second half. 19-9 currently the score, still a 10-goal game. As Marlin falls over the ball, has to release it, otherwise she'll get a suspension. Moves it out to Moreno. We said that she was dynamic, she said that she was quick. Well, she was too quick for Brevitt there, and I think Brevitt with a 2-minute suspension. It's going to be a second of the game. Going to have to be slightly careful when she comes back on. No, red card. Red card. That's, well, the first time we've seen it this weekend. It is technically a 2-minute suspension, but it's I think that was a direct red card as well, actually. Well, there we go. Brevitt will have to retire to the stands. Thompson rubbed salt in the wounds by scoring another goal. And now I have to explain what that means, really. Well, effectively, it's very similar to a 2 minutes in terms of how it affects the game. And it looks like, is this coming from behind? Yeah, there's a trip, isn't it, there? And although it didn't look that dramatic, any contact with the feet while the player was through on goal, not allowed to do it. Not allowed to make any contact from behind. Brevitt gets a straight red card for that one. Big shot, big save. Veglars even catches it and converts into attack. She tries to bounce it through. King comes out and manages to mop it all up. Unless there was a 2 minutes given to a Newcastle player that I didn't see earlier on. I didn't see who actually got it. I wonder if that was Brevitt then as well. Either way, red card is a red card. There'll be a player down for 2 minutes. And then they'll be allowed to bring someone on, but obviously it won't be allowed to be Brevitt. They're not even allowed to stay on the substitutions bench. They have to go to the stands with the fans, and somebody else will have to come on and replace her. Not the way that Brevitt was hoping to finish this Super Cup experience, I'm sure. Ball finally looked to be going to the line there, but it's actually forced. The pass wasn't on. Moreno leaves the ball behind. She's that quick. Ball gets turned over. Can Newcastle break? It would be ill-advised given the fact that they are obviously a player down. Szymkowiak looks to have gone back to the left wing. Chris Lamb has gone over to the left wing. He seems to have played pretty much everywhere so far this game. Yeah, pivot, half, centre and captain apparently is Sandra Christglam. So yeah, literally plays everywhere. She's listed as playing everywhere apart from wing, which is actually where we've seen her play the majority of this tournament, out on the right wing. Been with the team for 11 years though, same as Marlin. Long-time servants. Nice to see them getting their experience here at the top end of British Handball. Moving the ball out to the right wing. They seem to have moved Bergerstadt over to that side. But a save by Veglars yet again. Fourth of the game, fourth big save of the game. $19 gone then in this second half, and I'm very pleased to say I'm about to be joined by Ewan Hunter, and feel free to put the headphones on and everything like that. I think we've set it up a little bit better for you today. I think there was a potential that not many people could hear you yesterday, but fingers crossed they can hear you today. So by all means, Ewan, nice to have a chat as Newcastle are on the break. We'll see how this one ends up, and it's a goal by the number 13, Alina Inter. And this is an all-Scottish affair, Ewan. It seems to be a decent game so far, although Edinburgh probably were favourites. They seem to be running away with this one now.
Yes, thank you very much, Jack. Nice to join you briefly in the commentary box. Yeah, this game, as you say, good game, going very much as many would have expected. But we have seen, and there is Brevitt, as you say, having to leave the arena or leave the playing arena. unfortunately, after that red card. I thought that was an interesting decision, Jack.
Yeah, I was curious.
Quite a technical decision.
Yeah, I was curious to whether it was a third 2 minutes, because Newcastle did have another 2 minutes that I didn't spot who was giving it to, but I think it was just a direct red for a little clip of the heels as the player was going through, which, to be fair, according to the letter of the law, even though it didn't look dramatic, is a red card offence.
As you say, it is at the kind of technical infringement end of the laws of the game, because the player was through.
Yep.
And clearly that is deemed dangerous play, clipping her heels, even if there wasn't an enormous amount of contact. Scoring again. And I think, especially after yesterday's match, many people were probably expecting an Edinburgh win. But yet again, as I was saying yesterday, Newcastle showing some really good, strong resilience. And a good fighting spirit throughout the game.
Absolutely, yes. It was a damn good. It's not just getting a sign from our production manager doing this. I'm not sure if that means speak up or whether that means to wrap it up. Yeah, speak up. There we go. Yeah, so a bit more volume for you, Ewan, if you don't mind. But yeah, a little bit further onto the Super Cup, because obviously we've only got a couple of minutes left of this game. Actually. Sure. It's been a great event. Yesterday went swimmingly, didn't it? Without hiccup from our perspective, anyway. And as far as I can tell, there was nothing else that I didn't see that was a hiccup. Today is where all the prizes are given, though, and you'd be hoping that obviously we get the same standard handball, but the logistics go just as swimmingly as well.
Yeah, thank you very much, Jack. Yesterday did go very well. There's Amanda Cass scoring another goal. She's scored quite a number in the Super Cup this weekend for Edinburgh. But yes, yesterday went very well.
Yep.
It was really enjoyable, I think, for all the participants, the production team, and everybody involved, behind the scenes. So it's been super handball. I think the quality's been excellent.
Yeah.
Really good advert for handball across the nations of the UK, and everything that we think sport should be.
Absolutely.
So we're looking forward to yet more of that today, and I think, as you said, we're now at the business end of the tournament. So we're third, fourth place playoff here for the ladies' game, the women's match, and I think it's clear that Edinburgh are now very much in the driving seat and going to secure that third place in the Super Cup. But I know from speaking to many of their team yesterday just how inspired they were by how close they ran West London Eagles.
Yeah.
And with the view that if they can come back next year, then they'll look to step up again.
Yeah.
And I think that's very, very encouraging.
Absolutely, yeah. You mentioned, as we go into a timeout here, you mentioned the business end. Well, we do have a couple of partners with us this weekend, don't we? NorDan obviously sponsoring the Super Cup. Thank you very much for their support, but there's only so much I can talk about them. You've obviously been much more influential in getting NorDan on board, so tell us about the company and tell us about what they've been supporting with the Super Cup.
Yeah, absolutely delighted to. NorDan UK are the UK arm of the Scandinavian windows and doors manufacturer, and they are a substantial organisation across Europe who supply products in that kind of space, both for commercial and domestic purposes, but much more importantly have a really strong alignment in terms of values for the work that we do across handball. They're very community orientated and focused on giving people opportunities, and when we talk very much, as we do, Jack, about the handball family, don't we?
Yeah.
That's very much the kind of approach that NorDan takes. So when people are part of NorDan as a business, we know that it's the NorDan family, and they look after each other in just the way that we do across the European handball family.
Absolutely.
And so the partnership fit was extremely good, and they have been delighted to support us again for the second year, because they know that this support means that more. And it's as simple as this, more opportunities are going to be able to be given to more young people to get involved in playing handball and experiencing, environments like this, which is really special. And speak to any player, young player or more experienced, and nobody doesn't love playing, in a tournament like this, on a surface like this. And I think for other other sports, it's a little like, if you asked a golfer if they fancied an opportunity to play at one of the open courses, they would bite your hand off.
Absolutely.
That's what this is for handball.
I was going to say it might not be the Champions League or anything like that, but the floor is the same quality. Yep. The production value we're giving is pretty much of the same quality as well. Maybe not the commentary, but you never know.
You're doing a great job.
But EHF refs and all that sort of thing.
Yep.
So I was talking to Newcastle over breakfast, and I mentioned it earlier in the commentary. Actually, they were, in a lot of ways, they were obviously very competitive. They wanted to come and make a name for themselves and play well, but they were sort of just happy to be here as well and happy to take part. And it's something that they didn't necessarily expect at the beginning of the season. Obviously, maybe Edinburgh probably did expect this towards the beginning of the season, and their season really culminates in wanting to play against the likes of Olympia and West London Eagles.
Correct, and I think that's a really good summary of it, Jack. But at the same time, I know, and speaking to the Newcastle Vikings players, that they've been so inspired by this. They're equally desperate to repeat the experience next year.
Absolutely.
And we would be delighted, to welcome them back to the Scottish League. And if they qualify again, then they know what they're playing for. So it really does provide that inspiration. And we have a number of young people in the crowd yesterday, and we expect even more as the day progresses today, who themselves are watching this and saying, well, I might have the opportunity to get involved and get the chance to play, in this kind of space. As you say, this is to all intents and purposes, European standard handball. We're delighted to have our two referees here this morning, who are the two Italian EHF referees, and it'll be the men later on from Sweden. It's bringing a lot to it. That was a fantastic finish.
Yeah, Hannah Keenan from the back court there with a proper whip into the top corner. Very impressive indeed. Don't have you for that long, Ewan, so I want to touch very quickly on the fact that obviously you came in, you were very pleased that we have a Scottish representative in one of the finals, Livingston versus Hawks a little later on, and I was wondering if I could get your predictions potentially for that one.
I'm not sure I want to make a prediction, Jack. Thank you for the invitation.
I've got to give it a go.
You do. But I would say that, yes, we're delighted that Livingston have made the final. Of course, again, I think it shows and demonstrates the strength and depth of the game.
It's a heavy hit, wasn't it, while the player was in the air?
Yeah, Marlon does not look very comfortable there at all.
No, heavy hit while in the air, and a bad landing as well. I think that's the problem when there's when you go up for the shot. Obviously, you're sort of trusting that the defender's going to make contact, but not throw you over like that, I suppose. I mean, it can just happen in the heat at the moment. I'm not saying it was malicious, and obviously the player, the number 25, Vipasek, leading over, obviously feeling bad about the mistake, but here it is. That's never good.
No, that's not good. It's never good to see. As you say, it's the competitive nature of the sport. The challenge was made fair, cleanly and not with any kind of malice whatsoever. But she's just landed very hard on the court there. She looks like she's stretching out a little, so we'll keep our fingers crossed that she's going to be okay. But there's obviously a number of people now, including the referees, paying very close attention. We do have, of course, medical professionals available. Adam there, the Vikings coach, running off, looking like he's perhaps going to get something to try and assist. But this afternoon, as you say, we have the finals game. We see Marlon getting to her feet, which is good. That's good, excellent. Round of applause from both teams.
It's a red card again, though. Two red cards in one game.
Well,
both technically correct, obviously.
Absolutely, and whether there was malice in it or not, again, the referees, following the letter of the law, so that's Edinburgh now down a player. So that's, however, Marlon moving there a little little gingerly, but a little more comfortably. So good to see that she's able to get herself off the court.
Yeah, it's always nice that they at least can walk off the court, even if it is assisted, isn't it? But yeah, well, we're going to get back going. That was, as I said, our second red card of the day. Normally, I mean, I haven't seen 2 red cards all season, let alone all of a sudden in one game. But I suppose it's like London buses, isn't it? Yeah, you were saying about the strength of Livingston stepping themselves up, and obviously coming against Hawks, who even you ask any of the players or the coach, you don't know what kind of Hawks you're going to run into. I think that Donna wasn't very happy with their defence yesterday. That'll probably be a focus going into today, and I think that may well be a big battle there. Livingston's set attack seems to be very good, but the Hawks' set, their fast breaks, their transitions are absolutely rapid and unsufferable sometimes as an opposition team. So it's going to be an interesting battle.
I think it's going to be a very interesting. I think it's going to be a fascinating difference in style and approach. As you say, I think Livingston bring a huge amount of energy, discipline, and speed to the game. Yesterday, I think they were very disciplined in defence against London Olympia. Yeah. And they're going to be hoping for at least the same level of performance. We know, however, that Hawks are similarly hugely capable of finding a win. Yeah. And they seem to have demonstrated that all season as well. Yeah. So I think in terms of the final men's match this afternoon, that's going to be fascinating. The final women's match, of course, comes up in advance of that, and that's also set to be another really tough battle. The West London Eagles against Olympia. We know again there's been a hugely stiff competition there between those two teams this afternoon, and as our first final this afternoon, I know the crowd, speaking to a number of people already this morning, very much looking forward to that. Should be another fascinating tactical battle. It
will be indeed. Of course, those two will have played each other a lot more as well over the course of the last, not just this season, but over the years, to be honest. Both coming from London, they both played in the Premier League South obviously over the border, which is how we've now structured our league apparently, so it's north and south. Looking forward to that one, and I think that's going to be a prelude to our National Cup finals as well. I do have to get that confirmed, but I think it is West London Eagles versus Olympia in the English National Cup, which comes along next month even. So yeah, all in all, should be a hell of an afternoon. But we've obviously got some bronze medal matches first. Edinburgh look like they're going to come away with this one, and then your last thoughts on EK versus Olympia, that third medal match obviously is going to be tight again.
Bronze match again, coming straight up after this, and I think EK, I know, were disappointed with their performance yesterday against Hawks. It was an interesting game. I think in fairness, both teams didn't necessarily bring the best out in each other. No. I think that's probably fair to say. One of those games where it became something of a war of attrition at some points. But so they were a little disappointed with that. I know, speaking to the players. However, they are I think looking forward to this afternoon. It is this afternoon.
It will be this afternoon. Just about. Yes, just about.
12 o'clock throw-off. So looking forward to the bronze medal match, and I think looking to put in something more of a disciplined kind of performance of the type they put in last weekend to win the Scottish Cup. Yes. Where they beat Livingston. So again, the kind of indications from a strength and depth in the handball game are very positive, and I'm very much looking forward to the men's bronze medal match, as you say, following this one.
Yeah, I think we all are. This game is about to get wrapped up, isn't it? With a minute and a half left, Edinburgh with a 24-11 lead. They try and move the ball. They try and go for the Kemba, but Moreno can't get the quite get the height or the handling. Here goes Burgerstad, and it's 4 steps, but she's getting fouled at the same time. No, they were allowed to get the shot away, and again Edinburgh just break right up the other end against Mata, who has been quite superb in this game. I don't know if you caught much of it, Ewan, but in the first half especially, she was unplayable at times. She
was imperious, wasn't she? Really superb, and as you say, fabulous. That's the kind of, again, some of the strength and depth that has been displayed, and and this is players working over the years to develop their skills and the team and the squad. And you can see it all come to fruition in these kind of matches. So it's fabulous to see. Oh, there we are.
That's the first time she's missed a penalty so far. I think she's taken 6 has scored. Sorry, yeah, she's taken 6, scored 6 until that one. Out of her 7 goals, she's had 6 of them. But she hasn't played that much so far today, Thompson.
Yeah.
She's just come on for the penalties for the majority.
She has, hasn't she? Louisa is she's a very accomplished player, and I think she's also keen, as one of the senior members of the club, to make sure that all the other players get the opportunity to perform and to play, and I think she's been delighted to come on and take penalty duties. Again, as part of the there we are. That's it. Edinburgh confirmed. I'm going to have to leave you, Jack.
Absolutely.
Thank you for having me.
You've got a presentation to do.
Need to go and join the presentation part.
Thank you very much, Ewan. Always a pleasure. But it is confirmed that Edinburgh will be the happiest of the 2 teams. They come away with that 3rd medal point. And I believe the potential for European qualification if they fancy it as well. High fives all round. I think Vikings, they didn't necessarily expect to come to this weekend and win 2 games, but I'm sure they'll be pleased with their performance. Well, they definitely were pleased with their performance against Olympia. If it wasn't for Sabrina Farhan in goal for Olympia, they may well have scored a hatful more as well, and the goals they did score were of a very high quality, because you have to be high quality to get past the Olympia defence. And today here against Edinburgh, yes, okay, it was not necessarily vintage handball from them, but they scored a couple of more goals. But ultimately, as soon as Edinburgh got into the lead, they did what they did best, and they got through. Here is a couple of highlights from them. There's Mata picking it out of the air. A couple of second half highlights, of course. We saw the first half a little earlier on, and we do have a presentation. So before we get into that, I'm probably going to give you a couple of minutes to recover, maybe go and get a glass of water or something like that. I'll be back in a couple of minutes for the 3rd place medal presentation. Logistics coordinator, and what was that? NorDan UK, and what's that? Oh, right, okay. Just filled it down, I was like, what? Yes, as you've been able to see, we've been doing the presentations. You may have been able to hear the music and the PA in the background as well. The prizes being given out here by Megan Kent, the logistics coordinator from NorDan UK. Ewan Hunter will be around and about as well. It's Newcastle Vikings, even though with a red card, Marie Brevet's able to get a little commemorative prize there as well. And as I said before, they did come with the ambition to obviously give a good game, potentially get a victory or two. But in the end, I'm sure Vikings will just reflect on this experience as a learning curve and as inspiration to try and get back here next season. You never know, they may well be a little bit stronger. But we're here to celebrate the medal winners. And the captain, Louise Cox-Thompson, will lead them away. The third place prize will go to Edinburgh Handball Club. Ewan Hunter there. We've just been chatting to him for the last 10 minutes of this game. A little bit of the presentation as well. Julia Stenhouse, who I'm pretty sure runs pretty much everything in the Scottish handball. She doesn't seem to stop working. She's everywhere, answering all questions all at once. And yeah, you can see that she's involved with this as well. But a brilliant game, a brilliant tournament and season for Edinburgh. Obviously coming out league victors. Wanted to get to the final. They played well against West London Eagles. As Ewan said, I think they were quite proud of how they played. Next season, they want to get a little bit closer if they can. You only get better by playing better quality opposition more often than not. So Edinburgh, again, will take lessons from Olympia. They'll take lessons from West London Eagles. I'm sure they're excited to see as fans that game a little later on, as I'm sure everybody else at home and in the stands are as well. That'll be an absolute corker. And there is the number 25. Proud to wear a bronze medal rather than a red card to her name. Vipasek. Obviously, it was completely unintentional, the red card that she got, as was Brevitz. Technically correct. Potential player of the match from yesterday, from my personal perspective, I've said it many times, Veglas, the goalkeeper, the number 22. Had a good game again today. Maybe not as effective or not as needed, shall we say, but still a good performance. Moreno with one hell of a step. And here's, of course, is Mads Aoun getting his medal as well. Round of applause all round from the stands. And I'm sure from everyone at home will agree that Edinburgh are worthy of those bronze medals. Well done to them today. Well done to Newcastle. And we'll be back in a couple of minutes' time to catch the next third place match, which will be Olympia versus EK82 at 12 o'clock. Join us in about 20 to 25 minutes' time for more of brilliant handball action for the NorDan British Handball Super Cup.
Okay, Louise, thank you for joining us. Congratulations on the bronze medal there. How are you feeling after the match?
Oh, we just feel really happy as a team. It was really great to go out and play such a great game today, so we're really happy.
Yeah, looking at the bench throughout the match, there seemed to be a lot of smiles from the Edinburgh team. Did you just have a load of fun out there?
Yeah, we had lots of fun. We're a really big team with a lot of different players with different abilities, and we just had lots of fun cheering each other on, and it was a great game.
And we're playing in Edinburgh at Orium. How does it feel to be in front of that sort of home crowd, that home support?
Oh, it's amazing. Like, we feel so blessed to have so many people here, and we love it. And the atmosphere was great in the hall today, not just from the Edinburgh supporters, but from the whole of the Scottish supporters. So
you've had really good success throughout the whole season, winning the league, winning the Scottish Cup. You know, how does the season compare to last year, and how are you all feeling about it as a whole?
Well, we feel really positive about the season. We've had a lot of new players this year, which has been really good, and it's boosted our level. So we've had some good games during the year and the Scottish Cup last week, and we really enjoyed the game yesterday against the West London Eagles, and I think that we just need to keep building on it.
Fantastic. Have you got any celebratory plans for later on today?
Oh, I'm sure we'll think of something.
Okay, enjoy whatever that is. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Thanks.
Thank you. Sandra, thank you for joining us. Congratulations on the weekend, making it to the Super Cup. How's the team feeling after this weekend?
Tired, to be honest, but I think everyone, is just grateful to have been part of this whole event, and just really enjoyed every single minute. The match yesterday obviously was great to play against the Premier League winners, and I think we actually played for us, a really good level. And the only thing that Olympia are better, so we expected to lose. And today, with Edinburgh, we've known them for so long. We're good friends, and it's always a bit like our derby. So you would have liked a little bit of a closer match, but it wasn't ours today, so no.
It was an intense game, but it did seem to be played with great spirit. Did the team have fun out there?
Oh, we did have fun. We're not each of us are not played at a high level before or anything like that. So our team is built on team spirit and picking each other up and just support each other, and that's a great part of it.
So what are the plans looking ahead to next season? Does the team have plans for what they aim to achieve?
Just build a team really. We've got some new players in who haven't got that much experience. Just build them up. Us older ones just try and stay fit and then just get more girls playing handball. That's a challenge. Handball isn't well known in England, so we need to try and get more girls playing. So
yeah, well, hopefully people can watch the games, because I think it's been a great advert this week for the sport. So congratulations once again, and enjoy any celebrations you've got going on.
Thank you very much. Bye.